everyone. I'm Dr. Daisy Likharu, your host, and today I bring another episode of Soul Connect with me. Today we are going to connect with the magnificent and fascinating Surya Bode from Switzerland, and she will talk about woman, love, and India, which is also the story of her memoir and how she fell in love with an Aghori. I've heard about Aghoris and their tales in books and stories that I've heard from different people, but I've never really seen or met one in my life. I am looking forward to this conversation with Surya, and I'm sure you are looking forward to that too. Let's hear from Surya herself about her fascinating journey and how she met an Aghori, how she fell in love with an Aghori. Let's hear from her. Do stay tuned till the end. There is so much to hear from the fascinating ride in India and her stay with the Aghoris and her journey in her quest for a different self that she was looking for herself in life. Stay tuned. Hello everyone. Today I am again with a dynamic personality, Surya, whom you have connected before. We had a session with her on access consciousness and yoga. We will be doing more of that. But today we are going to discuss a different aspect of her life. We've all heard about Aghoris, or maybe some of us have heard. We know the tales I've read in books myself. And I know that they stay in cremation grounds and they have a different connection with their self and with the world. But today, I'm with Surya, who her name radiates a lot of energy, a positive energy. And Surya spent her life with an Aghori, Baba. And today, let's connect with Surya and hear it from herself. Welcome, Surya, and so nice to connect with you once again.
Thank you so much for inviting me for another podcast, and I'm very grateful and joyful to share what I have been living in India and meeting this Aghori.
Thank you, Surya, for opening up your life to us and to the world. I'm really, really grateful, and it's fascinating. I've heard from you, but the fact that you decided and you thought that you would also connect with the world and tell them your story, it's really amazing, and really, really thank you for that. You mentioned about India. You know, I am from India as well. I come from Assam, which is in the northeastern part of India, but I have spent my life, working in public health, traveling all over the subcontinent. So, what drew you towards India and where did you go? What was the thing in your mind that actually attracted you towards India? What pulled you towards India?
Okay, so the first time I decided to go to India was some times ago, really a lot of years ago, and I was with my boyfriend at that time. And actually, what really first drew me to India, I wanted to go to Jaisalmer. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go to that part of India where the gypsies comes from. So that was my first drive, actually. And so we did go to Jaisalmer and to other parts of India, and we stopped in Benares. Mm-hmm. And what actually happened in Benares, as we had been talking just before, I didn't really meet this sadhu, but I saw him mm-hmm. on the river Ganga, mm-hmm. on the Ghats, and I was seeing this man so simple, with nearly no clothes and just happy with nothing. And this is when a really essential question came to me. How can somebody, or how could I also be happy with nothing?
So you saw a sadhu, which is a holy man in India, and while you were traveling from Jaisalmer to Benares is in Uttar Pradesh, and you saw him on the river, on the sides of the river Ganga. Ganges.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
He was staying in a place where there was a little chai shop.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was with my boyfriend Claude in Benares,
Mm-hmm.
we used to come and have chai there because it was a lovely place. And so I would see him day after day with this very sweet smile, and and it moved me really deeply. It moved my heart, and it also touched something. I think much more sacred, even if at that time it was not so clear for me.
So you had gone to India on a holiday, or like you had said, you were looking for your higher self, some divine, self within you, or trying to find your inner self. What was it that drew to India? And when you saw this sadhu, you said that you felt something within you. What was that exactly? Was it something that you were already thinking? Was it something new? What exactly happened?
Actually, this first journey to India was a holiday journey, actually. And, but I had already started to meditate at that moment, and I was in a life-changing time period, and but then I really went back to India about 1.5 years later.
Right.
After that, and this is when I was really more focused on. I wanted to find a guide. I wanted to find a Guruji, because I had that sense that, okay, just by myself, I cannot really do it. And it was not clear at first what else I was looking for. But when I really started to travel in India, at that moment, my second travel, I realized that what I was really looking for was my higher self.
Right.
And be free of the past, be free of, free myself of many things.
Great. So you went on a holiday first,
Yes,
and then you decided to come back to India.
yes.
If I understood correctly, you were looking for spiritual connection. You started meditating, but you wanted to become better at it, and you wanted a guide to I also meditate, so I also understand. So I think you were trying to attain more spirituality within yourself, and trying to connect with your higher self, and someone to guide you.
Yes,
So
exactly.
was that made you decide that you should come back to India again?
Yes, in a way, yes. And, in this second trip, I went to India, but I didn't know when I was going to come back to
Right.
Europe. So I just went in an adventurous way. And, I think somehow deep inside, I knew that India and other places in Asia also would be the best environment for me to, because spirituality is very present in India and also in Buddhist countries and things like this, a lot more than here in the West. So I thought, okay, going there, it's going to be easier for me to connect with spirituality, my higher self. And then there was this curiosity, because I really also, I like to discover like other cultures, other arts, and spirituality. And I'm less interested really in religions,
Right.
but what is really beautiful in religions and stays really connected, with God, or whatever we want to call it.
That is beautiful. You said a very important thing, and just to let also all know, spirituality and religion are two different things. We will be covering more about spirituality in upcoming sessions, but Surya raised a very important and very nice point, very beautifully said, that you are looking at spirituality and you are not seeking like religions, because religions are many, but spirituality is very different, and you connect with your inner self, higher self. The feeling is different. So great. So you made your second journey to India in an adventurous way and not knowing when you would come back. So what did you find in your second journey? And where did you meet new people and what happened in your life?
Okay, it's actually a very long story, so I won't really tell all of it because it would be too long. I met a certain number of people who made me question myself, open more my mind, and also what I did in this journey, which I think is very important and very related with being connected with my higher self. I was like, I didn't organize or decide where I was going, from one point to another. I let myself be guided by the people I would encounter, by the love I had in my heart, by whatever inspiration I had. And in this way, I went to Kashmir, for example, and I went to Amarnath Yatra, which is where I met a lot of sadhus. And that was in 2000, and in 2000 there were very, very few Western people there. So I was with Indian people all the time,
Where did you meet your AGHORI Baba?
Oh, that was actually at the end of my journey, right? I went to other places in Asia, and then also it was something that was very like, how would I call that? I mean, I let myself guide by the idea that was actually a wrong idea, because 1 year before I had been at a meeting with the Dalai Lama in the Spiti Valley, and at the end of my journey, I knew I would have to go back to Europe very soon because I didn't have much money left. And then I said, okay, I go back to Spiti Valley to meet with the Dalai Lama, for the Kalachakra festival. And then when I arrived in Manali, where I knew people, they told me, no, but this year the Kalachakra festival is in Austria. And I said, So I was there, I was in Manali, and then I went to Vashisht. And it was a moment in my life I was quite lost. A moment in my journey I was quite lost. I said, okay, I've come here, but now I've come here, there's a special purpose. And now this purpose that I don't know. And it was a moment I was disconnected of my higher self.
You're feeling lost.
Exactly, feeling lost. But still I was just connected by a little thread that was telling myself, if life has brought me here, it is for a special purpose, even if I don't know which purpose it is. And in Vashisht, the days I was there was a celebration, puja, for the houses in Vashisht. And so it was Sunday morning, and I was listening to all the chanting in one of the two temples. There are two temples in Vashisht. And then I was curious, and I went there, and it was jam-packed with people and things like this, so I couldn't even see what was going on. But I met a first sadhu, and I told him, what is the puja about? And then he told me, and then he said, but now they're preparing the food here, so we have to migrate on in the other temple across the road. And there were some other sadhus, and there was one sadhu sitting on a wooden
wooden plank.
Yeah, wooden planks. And as soon as I saw him, I was like impressed by his presence, the quality of his presence, this firmness, this calmness. Compared to him, the other Baba seemed very, very excited and very agitated. And since there was a place next to him. I just looked at him to know if it was okay for me to sit there. So this is the way I met him. And I didn't know he was an Aghori at all at first.
Right.
You know, it just another.
He was just another Baba.
Yeah, for me it was just another Baba. I was just connected to his being, to his presence.
Right. Okay. So you had a very strong aura and presence you could feel.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then there was this. Well, first what happened and was very amusing to me is that, you know, most of the people were migrating to this temple, and it was a Ramasita temple, and they were doing a little puja to Ramasita, and then they would come and say hello to the Babas. And since I was sitting with them, they were calling me Mataji, and I said, I'm just, I'm
Mataji is like mother. Okay,
yeah, Mataji is like mother. And this is what they call the sadhvis, sadhu women, right? They call them Mataji. Well, I was very surprised, but then I said, okay, this is the way it is. And then one Westerner came, I think he was from Australia, and he asked this sadhu that was sitting next to me his name, and very slowly he said, Shiv Murari Ram Aghori Baba. And then this Western guy, he said, wow, he's an Aghori, you don't meet so many of them. And I said, but who are Aghoris? And he said, they are those who meditate on death. So I didn't know anything about it.
So you knew it only then?
Yeah.
When the person from Australia mentioned
exactly
as an Aghori Baba about him.
Exactly.
So then what did you discover after that?
Well, after that, I met him the next day or 2 days afterwards. I don't remember very well, but the puja was going on,
right?
Actually, and I was with a whole bunch of other people on a tea room on the roof of a house, and we were looking at the puja, the people coming out of the temple. And I was feeling all this energy coming up. I was seeing the priest, he was the Brahman, he was like in a trance, right? And I could feel that. And Aghori Baba, Murari Baba was next to me, and I said, well, this is a very powerful puja. And he just looked at me like this and said, yes, this is Shakti. And I knew about Shakti energy, but at that moment, I could feel it. I could feel, and then what happened is, I was so marveled, and my heart opened really big for this being, and I fell in love with him.
Oh,
you
fell in love with Aghori.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I'm so curious to know, because I've read tales about Aghoris, I read a few books, but they're very religious, and I've heard they stay in the cremation grounds.
Exactly.
I've also heard tales of they also eat probably from the corpses. I don't know, but
exactly.
Do they also fall in love and stay with people?
Yes. Because,
And you fell in love with him.
Exactly.
He didn't say anything, right?
At first, he didn't say anything.
Okay, so now what next?
At first, he didn't say anything. And I thought, but, he's a holy man, and I'm in love with him, but nothing is possible.
Right.
But nothing is possible.
Yeah.
But then he invited me to go to a waterfall, who is called Yogini Fall. Yogini Fall, the fall of the yoginis. And I said, okay. I went with him, and we stopped in a very small mandir, a very small temple. Dedicated to the Mother Mandir. He said, this is Mother Mandir. And he invited me, he did a little puja, and he invited me to do a little puja myself. And I was quite at a loss to do a puja in the Mother Mandir. But since I was in love with him, I said, oh, Mother, Divine Mother, tell me what is possible with this beautiful man I love, with this beautiful being I love.
You were manifesting.
Yeah, exactly. And he seemed to be very happy with my puja. I don't know why, but maybe something was radiating for me or whatever.
Maybe you did it so with your pure and clean heart. So
Exactly.
he could probably also feel the vibe.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he told me something that could be interpreted in many ways, actually. He said, you know, sometimes I do Shiva Shakti Puja.
Shiva Shakti Puja. So what does that mean? And what did he explain?
So, no, he didn't explain anything. He didn't explain anything, but the feeling I had is that Shiva Shakti Puja, what it means is that we can unite a man and a woman, and it's like a prayer to Shiva and Shakti, you know? And then I learned that AGHORIs are part of Tantric. You know.
They have different rituals which
exactly,
they do,
exactly.
which are very different.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also discovered that in Tantra, sadhus, they can choose if they want to be away from all sexual intercourse, or if they want to have relationship with women, but in a different way. That means mastering their own sexual impulse and looking at the woman as the goddess. You know, and having a different kind of making love with the women.
Okay,
So
that's new to me. So what happened after that?
So what happened?
So you were still in love with him?
Yes.
But he was with you?
Yeah.
Or you traveled with him, or you were in the same place?
Well, at the moment I was in Vashisht.
Yeah.
And actually what also happened is that I had met I think the same day I met him or the day before, I had met an Indian master, Buddhist master, and I was there for 1 week to have lessons with him.
Right.
So I would stay here.
Right.
And then I was not really sure about what was possible.
Right.
Really,
So you were learning Buddhism and meditation or practices? Yeah,
exactly. Buddhist practices and also, well, I'm not going to explain that because it's a whole different subject actually. But then one evening I decided to invite him in my room in the guest house. But
the AGHORI.
The AGHORI.
Okay. He was accessible to people? He used to talk to normal people?
I mean, yes, except that he doesn't speak much English.
Okay.
So, but you know, we were able to communicate with each other. Then I learned a little bit of Hindi, and we were talking together, a mix of Hindi and English and things like this. But you know, he understood when I proposed him to come to my room, and it was okay with him. I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, I just invited him in my room just to have like a more private connection with him. But the guy of the guest house, he said, no Indians with Western women, and who is he anyways? And I said, well, his name is Shiv Murari Ram AGHORI Baba. And he said, you're completely crazy. You know, AGHORIs, they do a black magic and they do, but you know, this is a very much misunderstanding because yes, AGHORIs, they have powers which can be considered as magical because they work their inner self and their connection with their higher self and with God in such a way that they have powers. But what they call black magic is not black magic. Is actually that in Agora, one of the meanings of Agora is the one who is fearless, without gore, without
fear.
Without fear. And what they do is they welcome the dark side of humanity, of their human being, right? And they experiment extreme things, like you said, like being with corpses on the cremation ghats, and sometimes they even eat a little bit of it in rituals, and they do things like this. But it's not because they are carnivorous or whatever. It is just because, okay, this is the flesh of another human being. How will I feel if I eat a little bit of it? What is going to be in myself that I haven't mastered yet and that I want to master, like disgust or other things, So they do all of these things that seem really strange to people, because normally we try to avoid this. We want to get more light, to be more in the light and things like this. But what is very powerful with AGHORI is that they understand if we fight against the ego or against our dark sides, we give them more power. And they don't want to give power to the dark side. They want to see it, not ignore it, not fight against it, and master it.
So what you're trying to say is, and what you're saying, if I'm understanding correctly, they deal with fear and become more and more fearless.
Exactly.
And they also do
like
practices like meditation, which helps them overcome that fear because they connect with their higher self. I've heard they do, different meditative practices, and even under the water for a long time as well.
Exactly.
They meditate inside caves, but they don't come out for a long, long time. Sometimes they don't eat food, etc.
Exactly.
And they don't connect with humans. But did you ever go to a cremation ground? Did you ever, be, part of that? I'm also curious to know that.
Yeah. Actually, when he was telling me about some things, I said, I don't want to enter really an AGHORI path. I don't feel ready for that.
He asked you about it?
Yeah, he asked me about it. He said, if you want, we can go to an ashram, an AGHORI ashram, and we can. But then we were in Benares, and we were staying on the cremation ground, and he proposed me to do some meditations, which in the AGHORI world are considered quite soft, right? And one of the meditations I used to do every day is just stay very close to a burning corpse and recite some mantras and just look at it and be with what I feel, seeing a human body burn, right? And being also very present, because I was so close to the fire that if I was not very present and a little wind came, I could be burnt, right? So it was like a practice of presence. And
how did you feel when you did it the first time? You accepted when he proposed to do such a practice?
Yes, exactly.
You readily accepted?
Yes, I readily accepted because I said, okay, this I can do.
Did you do it because you loved him, or you did it because you wanted to do it something different?
I did it because I wanted to grow to more and more awareness and be closer and closer to my higher and inner self, and also because I was trusting that he was there and he was also present, and that nothing bad could happen to me, actually, which is not the case when they do these extreme, some of the extreme meditation they do in Agora, because their Goji just leaves them and they have to meditate by themselves,
So
sitting
he
on
was
corpse.
protective of you.
Yeah, I had that feeling, I felt safe to do this, and so I was like, okay, I'll do it, and I want to discover something more about me. And what I actually discovered is that this burning corpse is only matter now. It's only flesh.
Right.
Whatever made this body to be alive before has gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't feel that at that time. Now I can feel it. But he was feeling the spirits of the dead people being around the cremation grounds.
Right.
He could feel that. I couldn't really feel it, but then and of course it's quite ugly, to look at a corpse, like, because then wow, it's not beautiful at all, right? And I'm a lover of beauty, right? But how can I be with something that my ego considers as very, very ugly and disturbing, and at the same time being connected with myself and ultimately see the beauty of it.
That is how life is, and that is how life ends, but then you transcend to another journey, another path.
Yeah.
It's great to hear from you and your experience. I've never had one, but I also have different feeling when I see a corpse. When I did my medical studies, looking at a corpse and doing a dissection was very different. But in real life, when someone passes away and you're in front of the corpse, that gives a very different feeling altogether. Great to hear your experiences. So I remember we got derailed in what we were discussing. You had invited the Aghori to your home, and there was this person who was saying the Aghoris, will do all kinds of rituals and they shouldn't come. But finally, he did come to your place, and you did meet him.
Well, finally, for him to be able to come to my place, I had to change place.
Oh, okay.
And to go to another guest house that was at really quite on the outside of the village. But you
did meet him, and then you did connect with him, and then you did talk to him.
Yeah.
Did you tell him about your feelings for him, or what did you say?
I didn't have to tell it to him. I mean, it was clear for me that it was clear for him that I was in love with him. It was very clear.
Your communicative language, without knowing even the Hindi or English, both of you communicated, and he got the message that you were in love with him.
Yes.
And
completely.
What did your feelings say? Did he accept it? Do Aghoris fall in love, or are they allowed to fall in love, or do they marry, or do they stay with,
they can,
as couples?
They can choose. Not only Aghoris but other tantric babas, tantric sadhus. Sometimes they live in couples because they have made this choice. They have the choice. In other parts of different sadhus, in their practices, they have to stay single, right? Right, but not in the tantric practices. You can choose. So he had chosen in one part of his life to be single, and then he made another choice.
Okay. So he also took the choice to be with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So then, how long did you stay in India? Did you live with him? What else did you learn in this journey from him? And did you decide to stay forever in India because you wanted to be with him? So what next?
Yeah. So I stayed actually 4 months with him, and then we started to travel, and we stopped in different places like Rishikesh and things like this, and we started in near Manali, and we ended up in Benares, where we stayed 2 months actually. And at the end, and what I learned also, I learned that for them as a lover, it was just fantastic. It was just the best loving experience I had at all levels, you know, heart, spirit, body. But then there was this other part, which was the material, social part, where I'm a Western woman, he is an Indian man. He was born in a very small village where his parents were growing rice. And he was actually, I mean, he was spiritually very educated, but for the rest, he was not very educated, really. And I could see all the difficulties that we would have, you know, if I would stay in India. Because at some point, I had no money anymore. So he said, you can become a Baba. And I said, yes, this is one option. This is one option. But then deep in my heart, do I really want to be a Baba? And something was saying no. I have my soul's choice is not becoming a Baba. Okay, so if I want to stay in India, or I could also have worked, like, you know, teach French or English or things like this. But it was like I was not inspired by that, right?
So your journey to India was also a quest to find yourself,
Exactly.
to connect with your spiritual self, to elevate yourself. You know, you went there with a purpose.
Exactly.
So were you able to find that purpose? Did you connect with your inner self? The fact that you thought that you didn't want to become a Baba, but yet you also had other duties and responsibilities which you thought you would do. But how was your quest? Did you...
Oh, yes, really. I mean, and especially the time I spent with Murari Baba, it was even, I went into a feeling of growing towards more and more light, more and more, you know, expanding myself, you know?
You're expanding your inner light.
Exactly. And expanding my being, my essential being. So, and I really felt that I had entered into another dimension. And well, when I met him, I already had taken this name of Surya. But when I arrived there, my name was a very Christian name. My name was Maria Bernadette, right?
Okay.
A very Catholic name, which I didn't like at that moment. Now it's a whole different story. But at some point, I was not in India actually, but I was in Thailand, talking to somebody in the street. And when I said Bernadette, this woman said, what? Because, you know, it's the French sounds are very strange for Asian people. So at first they don't understand it. And so it's like something was coming down from, I don't know where, and Surya. I said Surya. I didn't even reflect it. And I said, but that is my name. That is my vibration. My essential vibration is the golden vibration of Surya, right?
So coming back to your AGHORI Baba.
Yes.
So when you met him, you were already Surya.
Yes.
So when you told him his name, you said you were Surya, right? Okay. And then, so how long did your relationship go? I mean, did it... I've read your book, but people will be curious to know what happened after that.
Yeah, well... at some point, well, I wanted to stay in a relationship with him.
But you didn't want to become a Baba.
But I didn't want to become a Baba, and I didn't want to become an Indian woman either. Because I knew I could adapt to a certain point. I could wear saris and Punjabis, that was completely okay. I could go and chant in the temples, that we know with the heart, because people, they chant with their heart. That was completely okay. But then I didn't want to lose the freedom of a Western woman. And I knew that with him it would be very difficult, because somehow he would not understand really, and he would even feel maybe wounded by some of my...
So a question, very patriarchy is there in India, and
Yes.
there's a lot of control there.
Yes.
So even with the Aghori Baba, did you feel it was a little bit of patriarchy there, or
Yes.
was it a male ego that was hurt, or how
yes.
was it?
Yes. Yes. Because, him, like myself, even if we have entered a space where we're more connected to our inner self, I mean, we still have our conditioning, right? He was not free of his conditioning. I'm not free of my conditioning, right? And what I could see is that our both conditionings, it's even complicated with two Indian people or two Western people, but but when you have such different conditionings, I saw that it was not going to be good neither for me nor for him to get into a relationship where we get married.
Right.
Even though with a tantric Baba, it would not be so patriarchal as with just a current Indian man, right? But still, and it didn't feel right to me. So I decided to come back to Europe, and I told him so, and he said, there is no problem. I'm a Baba. I can have a meditation time, and when you come back, you're welcome. I will wait for you.
Right.
So
it was more
which is
like
quite extraordinary, because when do you meet a man who tells you so, right?
So it was more of you feeling restricted
Yes.
with him,
Yes.
and not feeling liberated,
Yes.
despite staying with someone who would be kind of meditative and great practices, but yet you did not find yourself free.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So you picked up your connection with your inner self. You elevated yourself, as you
Yes.
said.
Yes.
But then you still felt that probably if you stayed there, you would be more restricted and not be the Surya, the shining Surya.
Yes, I could. Yeah, exactly. I had the feeling that at some levels, in some matters, I could be totally myself.
Right.
Meditating together, making love together. I could be totally myself.
Right.
But then in the day-to-day social life, then I would have to behave more like an Indian woman, and it didn't feel right to me,
Okay. So I don't want to get into how an Indian woman behaves, because Indian women from different parts are very different, and also in the rural and the urban part it would be a little bit different.
That's true.
And
That's true.
I think it's the feeling of more feeling suffocated or not being yourself.
Yeah.
And not being allowed to be yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite you being quite independent, in your thinking and your expression.
Yeah.
So you said you lived with him for 4 months.
Exactly.
Did you get married or?
No, not at all. I didn't want to get married with him. I said, okay, we can be together. I don't want to get married. And he said, okay, that's okay. We can be together without being married, because I'm a tantric Aghori Baba. It's not a problem. And and then.
So did he become like your spiritual guru as well for you?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Actually, him and myself, we were very clear that we can be each other's Guruji. And he was the one who said, he told me one day, I learn from you as much as you learn from me, and we are Upa Gurus.
Okay.
Upa Guru, which what I understand means the one who is close and can be your guru in some matters, right? Can bring you light in some matters. And he was explaining me so many things that mostly I didn't understand on the cognitive side, but I was so open that it like infused me in a very deep level. And then when I finally met one Western man who became my Guruji in Kashmiri yoga, which is also a tantric way. then when he was teaching in French, I said, but that sounds familiar. Although I had never understood it. But then it was like, but I know that, you know. So whatever he was teaching me,
Murari Baba.
I mean, from this tantric way, it permeated me, and then it was like, okay, I know that. Now I can also know it cognitively. You know?
So what happened after 4 months? Did you come back to India, or did you ever go to the cremation ghats at night? And,
Sure.
What happened there? Can you
course,
share one of the experiences?
We spent, when we were in Benares, we spent a lot of time on the cremation ghat, by day, by night, every moment. And
how was your experience there? Did you see a lot of Aghoris at the same time?
No.
Or were you only with him?
No. Actually, when I met one other Aghori on this cremation ghat, which is not main ghat. On main ghat, the cremation ghat, there is another one, which is secondary. This is where we were staying, and I didn't meet many Aghoris. I just meet another one, you know. But then when they do their secret practices, I was not allowed to be there. So, you know, what I was doing my meditation at night with the burning corpses and things like this, and the more I was meditating with corpses, the more I was feeling like I was not so afraid about death anymore.
So you became fearless. You were able to, you were adventurous anyways, but you broke your fear even more.
Yeah, exactly.
So, curious a little bit more, I mean, do the Aghoris live by themselves, or do they live in groups? Do they move from place to place, as you mentioned? Do they move together in groups, or do they have their solo journeys? How is it?
They mainly have a solo journey, because not like other babas who have ashrams where they are they gather together. They have mainly their solitary journeys, but at the same time they always gather with other babas, and they are very curious also to exchange with other babas, you know.
So they do move solitary most of the time,
Yeah.
but then they do interact with other babas
Exactly.
and have a change of their
exactly.
knowledge or practices.
Exactly.
Okay,
And they meditate with other babas.
Okay.
You know, he was mainly very silent, actually. You know, when he was with other babas, so he was just like being with them, being present, and you know, sometimes they were also.
Do they talk or they don't, or they talk very less?
I mean, it depends. But
or it's mostly like silence and some minimal exchange. It's just out of my own curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, there are moments. But they like to be together, just to be together and be in the circle of their energy. And sometimes there are times they're just very silent, and then sometimes there is a topic that comes up, and then they exchange. Or also what they talk about is what is happening to other babas, what is happening in their world, right? So they exchange information, and where is there an important gathering next?
Okay.
You know?
Okay. You see a lot of babas around these, big Kumbh Melas and others.
Exactly.
But, anyway, I haven't been to one, so I really don't know. I read it more.
And then they have all these gatherings around, like pujas, like the one I was attending, like in Vashisht, or when they celebrate a goddess, or when they celebrate the Guruji's anniversary and things like this. One time,
they do have their own gurus.
Yeah, they have their own gurus. Exactly. But they are invited in what is called bandara.
Bandaras.
Bandara is when for a celebration of
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
They do really big meals in pots. I
Yes.
mean, you know, they are so big, and they do whatever they do.
It's
Rice
like community.
exactly. Communities do that.
Yeah.
Babas are always welcome, and since they live on they don't have their own incomes. If they can have a free meal, then you know they go there.
Are
And
they
also,
vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
it depends.
Okay.
It depends. A lot of them are vegetarian. Some have even, I mean, a lot of restrictions. Now, AGHORIs, I mean, we were eating vegetarian most of the time, right? But AGHORIs eat everything. So
Okay.
from time to time, he said, okay, today, if we have a little money, let's do some chicken or some fish or things.
Is it
like
always cooked or they also have it raw?
They can have it raw also. What I experimented with him, we always cooked it.
Cooked, okay.
We always cooked it.
It's my own curiosity. I'm asking
Yeah,
these questions as well.
sure. Uh-huh.
It's great to know that you spent and so after these 4 months with AGHORI, did you come back to?
Yes, I came back. I
Switzerland
came back to Europe.
You came back
Well,
to Europe.
then my plan was to actually, because I wanted to have this relationship with him, even though we were not married, and he agreed with it. My plan was to like spend 6 or 7 months in Geneva or in the
Right.
West, and work and be here, and then go back and be with him for 5 or 6 months or things like this. But then it was not that easy.
Right.
You know, I mean, I came back so transformed, so different. And if I look at the first picture I took after my coming back from India, I mean, I look at my eyes, and I mean, I'm so open and so vast that it looks like I have been smoking something, you know, but I haven't. It's just like, and I said, I came back with the light of India in my eyes, and so
You became brighter.
yeah, brighter and much more peaceful, and I was on a really much slower rhythm, because with Babas you live a very slow rhythm, and I came
You're
back.
no longer in a race.
Exactly. And when I came here, I was like, but people are crazy. They are so crazy. And I was so disconnected with that, that it was very difficult for me to find a job and raise money and things like this. Well, I had all sorts of difficulties, but at like 1 year after I had come back, I had been able to put aside some money, and I decided to come back to India and meet him. And
So did you do that?
yes,
Okay.
exactly. And it was at the end of the year.
How did you connect with him?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because those days, was there a mobile or?
No, they didn't have mobiles
didn't
at
have
that
mobiles.
moment.
So how did you
Now
connect?
they do. Now
Okay.
they do. Or some of them do. What I did is I opened an email address for him, and he said, yes, that way I can just ask some Westerners to connect,
Right.
and in cyber cafes, and so we can exchange things. But then what happened? I wrote him an email. I'm coming back. I'm coming that day, that hour. I'll be in Delhi. My plane is landing at that time. But then I got no answer. So I didn't know if he would be there or not. So I had to trust. And he was there. He was there.
Wow.
You
He was
know.
there in Delhi?
Yeah, he was there in Delhi. He had spent the night
Wow.
sleeping outside the airport just to
Oh.
meet me, because I was my flight was coming in very early in the morning.
Of course,
you know,
yeah.
so it was so moving. It was so
Of
moving.
course. So he had a deep connection with you as well.
Exactly. We could trust our connection.
So
exactly.
where is Murari Baba, and after that, what happened? Where did your relationship go?
Well, I went back to India one time
times?
and another, but also what happened, since I had met a Guruji here, I had the feeling that since I want to focus on my spiritual journey, somehow it is more important for me to spend more time in Europe and connecting with my Guruji that being with Murari Baba, right?
So you learn to detach.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also met another man here in Europe in 2003, and I fell in love with him. And my heart said, "Oh, but you can love two men." I said, "Okay." On the heart point of view, that is, of course, I can love two men. I can love many people, right? But then since I wanted to have a deeper relationship with that man here in Europe, it didn't feel right to let Murari Baba hope our relationship would last forever.
Right.
And I love relationship because our friendship, the friendship could of course last forever. But so in 2004, I went back to India. I met him there, and I told him very honestly what was happening in my life, and it was quite difficult actually for him. And I'm telling this in another book. In my first book, I'm just talking about this first 4 months, and then I saw him again in 2009, and then I went back in 2019 because we were more or less in connection, but at some moment I was losing the connection with internet, or even because afterwards he had a smartphone and things like this. But I was always able to connect with him. Always,
Okay, that's great. So you had a great friend and you fell in love with an Aghori. You stayed and lived with an Aghori and your real life experience, and it's great to hear from you. It's great that you went to India and you went there again and again to find your inner self, your quest that you had actually planned, and your mission to actually find your inner self. I hope that light guided you towards your, higher being. Your spirituality has given you, some more light. Your inner light has actually, it's also seen radiating as well. Also in your name, Surya. And I don't know, would you like to give any thoughts or to the people out there, who are listening to you today on, something that you really liked and loved about the Aghori world that had really transformed you? And people who would like to go and meet the Aghoris, they have a lot of myths and misconceptions, maybe something that you would like to break so that people are more comfortable. So one last word, last sentence from you.
I don't think you can go and look for Aghoris, really, because they won't manifest themselves, right? But if somebody wants to know more about Tantric Babas and Aghoris, maybe just go there with an open mind, an open heart, and with this sincere quest of search for our inner self, and just being open, and just let's see what happens, where life will guide me. And maybe someone will tell him, but I know there is a place where there are Aghoris, because of course they have Gurujis, and so they have small ashrams where they learn, about the Aghori way. So and I went to Murari Baba's ashram, right? So I went there, but they are very simple ashrams, really. And if you want to sleep there, you sleep outside on the ground, and this is so simple, So and you can be curious and go, and maybe somebody tells you about an ashram or about something, about a bandara, for example. Okay, I go to this bandara, and maybe in this bandara I connect with Babas, and maybe I will meet one. You know.
But
like
your
this.
life transformed after meeting Murari Aghori Baba.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And it changed for the better, do you think?
Yeah, for the better, but also for, since my choice was to come back here, something more difficult that I had to live here.
Great. So thank you so much, Surya, for your time today and for sharing your personal life story and your story with how you met an Aghori and how it actually went and about their world and about your own quest with your inner self. This is a book that Surya has written. This one is in French, but it's also available in English. This is about her life with Murari Aghori Baba. The person you see out there is Murari Baba.
Is Murari Baba,
So
exactly.
feel free to reach out if you want to read this. This one is in French and it's readily available. The English one will be available very soon. I will leave the details below the podcast so you can reach out to Surya herself or you can write at the email ID provided so you can have copies of the same. Thank you so much for your time and do take good care of yourself. We'll see you soon in another podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Daisy Lecaro, signing off. Thank you so much. And thanks a lot to
Thank
Surya.
you so
Thank
much
you for your time. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.